So 3 years after The Dark Knight Rises ends the Dark Knight trilogy, the Arkham series comes to an end with the Arkham Knight. It's actually kind of sad. I'm Batman. How you doing all? I'm Joe, and today I'm here to do something very different. Today is my first ever review of a video game. I haven't really done any video game reviews yet so far on this channel, but today I'm going to give it a shot and see what you guys think of video game reviews. Should I do a couple more? And whether or not I should do a spoiler review for this game, because I think I might actually want to do a spoiler video giving you my full thoughts on what happens in this game and with the previous Arkham games. And would you like to see more spoiler videos on TV shows, movies, and the whole shebang? Now this is a spoiler-free review, so don't worry. If you have not played Arkham Knight in its entirety, don't worry. I won't give anything away. This is just my general thoughts on Arkham Knight. The storyline, the characters, the gameplay, and the scope and the graphics, and we'll see where it goes. If you can't tell by now, I am a Batman fan. I got the Arkham City shirt right here, Arkham Knight games right there, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and I got Batman Begins there. And I've only have 2 graphic novels by Batman. I don't know a whole ton of Batman comics. But I would say I know enough of the character to say that I'm a fan of him. And he's my second favorite superhero behind Spider-Man. The Batman Arkham video game series is a pretty awesome game and probably the best superhero game series that we've had so far. Arkham Asylum was good, Arkham City was excellent, and Arkham Origins, you know what? I actually like Arkham Origins. I think it's a really good game. Gameplay's a little bit nothing new and the glitches are kind of annoying. But you know what? I think Arkham Origins is a really underrated game. And I was really excited to see Arkham Knight and see how everything comes together in the series. And when they announced that it was being delayed, god damn it. But hey, good things come to those that wait, don't they? And it did. Arkham Knight takes place about a year or so after the events of Arkham City. Scarecrow's in town, putting Gotham under threat, and most of the citizens of Gotham City have evacuated onto the mainland, leaving only the militia by Scarecrow, and the militia led by the Arkham Knight, who's a new villain created specifically for this game, and the police on Gotham City, of course, and Batman, and Oracle, and some of his other allies that make appearances in this game. And it's up to Batman to stop the Scarecrow from his plan and try to figure out who the Arkham Knight is. Now, story-wise, this game really takes it up a notch in a lot of ways. Without going into any big details, it goes into the psyche of Batman because he's still in a way haunted by the events of Arkham City. If you haven't played that game, you need to get on that, sir or ma'am. And certain things that Scarecrow does with his fear gas and how it messes with Batman's head, it's really cool to see. And you also have a few appearances in here by Nightwing, Tim Drake as Robin, and Oracle has a little bit of a more substantial role than she did in the previous games. And you got an older Commissioner Gordon and has a little bit of a strained relationship with Batman, which again, I won't give it away. And he's also voiced by the guy who played Mike Ehrmantraut in Breaking Bad. That's a really interesting choice. And Kevin Conroy returns to voice Batman, and that is awesome. Next to Christian Bale, Kevin Conroy is the Batman, along with Michael Keaton, of course. And as the voice of Oracle, this actually surprised me. Ashley Greene. In case you don't know who that is, it's Alice from Twilight. When I saw that, I just went, oh no. But to my surprise, she actually proves to be a really talented voice actress, and she does a really good job as Oracle. So if she decides to go into the voice acting spectrum of acting, by all means, go for it. And you got John Noble as the voice of Scarecrow, and Tara Strong, or I think it's Tara Strong, as the voice of Harley Quinn. Yeah, she's in here. I'm not going to say anything specific. And the Arkham Knight. I know a lot of people aren't really big fans of the reveal of his true identity, and I'm not going to give it away, but I thought he made a really interesting villain. And up until you find out who the Arkham Knight is, almost the entire time in my head I was just going, what is this Arkham Knight? Who is he? And what does he want with Batman? Why does he hate him? He's basically a militarized version of Batman, except he doesn't have the bat symbol on his chest. He's got the A for Arkham. And he basically looks like a robot. Even though it's not an actual robot, it's a robotic suit, I would say. I thought he made a pretty cool villain, and when I found out that he was a new villain being created specifically for this game, I literally just went, whoa, you're creating a villain for this game? That's a pretty bold move, and I think for the most part it paid off. Now the gameplay for this game is pretty much what you'd expect from the previous Arkham games, but this time they add a few things to it. Obviously, let's get the big elephant out of the room, the Batmobile. A lot of people have problems with the Batmobile. I think it's a pretty awesome addition to the game, but I have to admit I am a bit frustrated with it because sometimes when you're driving so fast, it can get really frustrating because you make all these hard turns and you're trying to avoid certain things and you end up hitting them anyway. I'm just not used to stuff like that, and it can be really frustrating. But it also has a tank mode, where if you hold a certain button down, you go into tank mode where you're firing rubber bullets and explosive rounds at tanks that are run by the militia that the Arkham Knight uses for his army. Now, some people aren't really fans of that. They think it's too un-Batman-like, but if you pay attention, the tanks are unmanned and the bullets you fire are rubber, so you're not really killing anybody, but you're still causing some damage to property. I think it's a pretty cool addition, and I didn't mind it at all. But the tank battles can get a bit tedious every now and then, because when you have to disarm certain bombs throughout the city, the militia are going to close in on you, and they're going to try to kill you, and you have to dodge all the lasers and all the missiles and everything. You got to be on top of everything. It gets annoying after a while. Now, as far as hand-to-hand combat with Batman, obviously you got the punches, the kicks, and the dodges, the counters, and everything. When somebody's about to punch Batman, the lightning bolts start showing up on Batman's head, and he can see it coming, and if you time it right, you can obviously block their hits. But another thing that I really thought was cool was the multi-fear takedown, or whatever it is, where you knock somebody down, and then time slows down, like in a Matrix type of way. You can lock onto the next target, to the next goon, and you go boom, and then the next one, and then boom. That I thought was really cool, but it takes some getting used to. And also the grapnel boost, which you can use to fire the grapnel onto a rooftop, and then you can boost, and then this time, you push the button many times, and you fly even higher when you just go. Because before in the previous games, you just kind of went. This time, kicks it up a notch. Multiple notches, I would say. And depending on how big the grapnel boost is, you can fly certain distances over time, and you can even pull up even higher than you can in Arkham City. And that I thought was a nice improvement too, because I have to admit, when I try to pull up, I find it a bit frustrating, so I obviously have to dive bomb down to gain altitude. And there's nothing wrong with it, but sometimes I just kind of want to fly up just a little bit for a certain amount of time before I start to go down. And I like how they improved on that a bit. But also back to the combat, they obviously have the bigger goons. It can be a little frustrating as to figure out how to beat them, because you have to use the stun move in order to knock somebody into submission, or you got to use the electrical charge to knock them out because they got the shock gloves on, or some kind of a shock baton on them, which if you try to hit them, they'll use it and they'll hit you and you'll just go. That is so irritating. There were so many times where I went, ah. So I had to use the electrical charge to knock them down, and then I started hitting them. But also the graphics and look at this game, it is beautiful. It takes place on Halloween night in Gotham City, where Arkham City took place during the wintertime when it was snowing. Arkham Origins took place on Christmas Eve, and Arkham Asylum took place on the summertime, I guess. This one, it's raining on Halloween night. Everything looks wet, it all looks muggy, and the look and scope of Gotham City is huge. I love it. Because compared to Arkham Origins, as bigger as it was in scale, it didn't feel quite as lively as I was hoping it would be. This one, while there's not a whole lot of citizens walking around, it's mostly goons and thugs and militiamen, it feels a lot more lively than Arkham Origins did. And like with the previous games, you also got these little side missions. You also have a certain type of detective mode where you could scan the muscle, the bone, or certain areas of the skin to figure out who the serial killer is. And when you find out who the serial killer is, let me just say, that character made me sick to my stomach. Oh, God, he was disgusting. I won't give anything away, but oh man, was that sick. But one thing I did like about that side mission is obviously, like I said, it gives you certain layers of the body to scan. Because they also show something similar like that in Arkham Origins where you can recreate a certain crime scene where a person went this way or that way. They show you a different side to the detective vision, which I thought was pretty cool. And another thing I do like about this game, they do acknowledge certain things that happen in Arkham Origins. So it's not like the game creators were completely ashamed of Arkham Origins. They do acknowledge certain things that happen because certain characters come back in here, which ties into everything. So I'm glad they weren't embarrassed to acknowledge the events of Arkham Origins. I know some people aren't fans of that game, again, but I like it. And of course, there's the Riddler. Now, the Riddler has had challenges and trophies or data packs scattered throughout certain areas, so you obviously have to find those. And you obviously have to solve the riddles, and these riddles are a little harder to find because obviously this is a new game and I'm not used to it, but probably the most frustrating aspect of this game was the Riddler racetracks, especially the last part. That was so irritating. You have to go through 3 laps. The first 2 laps, piece of cake. The last lap, you're not controlling the blockades, the Riddler's doing it. Oh my God. But here's the thing. When you fail, the Riddler continuously antagonizes you. I mean, he does that in the previous 3 games, but he turns it up to a Googleplex. When every time he comes on and antagonizes you, I literally just went, will you shut up already? Shut it! And by the time I finally finished that last lap, I dropped my controller and I just went, yes, yes, yes! Because that was a really hard section to get through. And I know that when I play this game again, to get 100%, I'm going to have to go through that again. But at least I know a little bit more of what to expect now. And luckily I bought this game on PS4, so I have had not one problem with this game. There's no glitches that I picked up on, there's nothing that seems out of place. Some people who have PC, they've reported some problems downloading it onto their PC. And I feel sorry for you guys, because anybody who's in charge of the PC downloads or whatever, you need to fix those problems, because Some Batman fans are a bit upset that they can't download their games. But luckily I have this on PS4, so I've had no problems whatsoever. But in conclusion, despite some of those personal nitpicks with the Batmobile and the Riddler challenges, this is a really, really great Batman game, and it brings it all home for the series. I mean, it wraps up everything in a nice little bow, and the ending, I'm still thinking about the ending, the final cutscene in particular. I'm not really sure what it's meant to be. In my spoiler-filled review, maybe I could expand on that a little bit more, especially with certain aspects of the game, which I did not want to spoil for you at all. It combines certain elements from the Batman animated series and the Dark Knight trilogy, brings it all to one. You got the Arkham series, especially Arkham Knight. Do I think it's the best game in the Arkham series? I'm not sure yet. Maybe Arkham Knight is the better game in terms of its story and its gameplay. It's a little bit more contained. This feels a little bit bigger in terms of its scope and its actual narrative. But you know what? It's still a great game, and it's a great conclusion to the Arkham series. So if you're a Batman fan and you want to play this game, you better play this game as soon as you can. Especially if you haven't played the previous Arkham games, you're kind of missing out. Because it's the Batman. So thank you guys for watching my Arkham Knight review. Do you want to see a spoiler-filled review of the game? Let me know in the comments down below. And do you want to see more spoiler-filled videos on movies and TV shows? If I feel like they warrant it, let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you next time, guys.